online. GoBrave.org, a TuneIn radio station. Part of the William Patterson Broadcast Network.
Broadcasting live from Hobart Hall in Wayne, New Jersey. This is the innovative.
I think they're really unique.
The fearless. They have awesome variety. The kick-ass.
I love Brave New Radio.
The sensational.
I've never heard anything like it.
This is the one and only Brave New Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the host and guest and are not necessarily supported by WPSC 88.7 FM, station management, or the station owner, William Patterson University. Anyone wanting to offer differing opinions may do so by calling the show at 973-720-2738. Abusive callers will be rejected. Now here's your program on WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, here is your program on Brave New Radio on WP 88.7 FM. This is your host, Marc Medley, and the show that you'll be listening to is The Reading Circle with Marc Medley. We come to you live each Saturday morning from 6 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock a.m. And then from 7 to 9, we put on the good news and song, which is the gospel music, unless we have a Reading Circle doubleheader like we do this morning. We have a Reading Circle doubleheader this morning. My first guest is already on the line, so we're going to follow our normal protocols, where I'm going to read from two books. And I always start off saying I'm reading from two books. The truth be told, I'm going to start with the weather first. Then I'm going to read from two books, introduce my guest, share some information with you, and then we're going to go on with our interview. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Reading from the book Until Today by Iyanla Vanzant. She says, for March the 19th, I open my heart and mind to be aware without death there can be no change. Author John Roger wrote, we are only born once into life, but in life we are reborn many times. He was describing the many, quote, many deaths, unquote, we experience on our journey through life. We die to old ways of being to be reborn in our power. We die to old beliefs to be reborn in the truth. We die to habits of need, dependency, and control to be reborn in reliance on spirit. We die to fear of spirit to be reborn into the spirit of fearlessness. We are taught that death is the end. It is, we believe, the darkness into which we plunge, never to return, of which no one can speak. As long as you are still breathing, death becomes what we commonly call change. Until today, you may not have been aware of the many times you have faced death or the ways in which death can alter your state of being. Just for today, lay down your notions and fears about death and be willing to change. Today, I am devoted to accepting that I must accept death in order to change. That's from the book Until Today by Iyanla Vanzant. And our second book is The Power of Gratitude. And in a couple of seconds, I'm going to go ahead and read from that book and let you know what's going on there. That one is by Joyce Meyer. And we're talking about being thankful because there is not too many things worse than being an ingrate. And that's what this book, The Power of Being Thankful, is all about. Both of these books are daily devotionals, meaning there are no years associated with them, only dates. So that means the chances of you hearing the same thing twice on here is slim to none. So for today, January 19th, the Bible teaches us to be thankful. We're just talking about that. I've inclined my heart to perform your statutes forever, even to the end. Just as the Bible instructs us to praise God and to worship him, it also gives us reasons to thank him and teaches us how to offer our gratitude to him as shown in the scriptures below. We give praise and thanks to you, O God. We praise and give thanks. Your wondrous works declare that your name is near, and they who invoke your name rehearse your wonders. It is good and delightful thing to give thanks to the Lord and to sing praises to your name, O Most High. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise to him with songs of praise. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and a thank offering, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful and say so to him. Bless and affectionately praise his name. Prayer of thanks. Father, I am so thankful for the promises and instruction that I find in your word. Today, I choose to live a thankful life simply because you instruct me in the word of God. I will act in obedience and believe that your word teaches me the best way to live. That's from the book, The Power of Being Thankful, 365 Devotions for Discovering the Strength of Gratitude. All right, well, actually, I did reverse the order. I read from the two books first, and now I'm going to share the weather with you, what's going on with the weather in the northern New Jersey area. Right now, we are in the Wayne, New Jersey area, 31.4 degrees. That's a little bit cooler than we have been, but we are actually working our way up to 48 as a high, 29 as a low. Partly cloudy skies this morning will become overcast during the afternoon. Cloudy skies early this evening, followed by partial clearing, and again low of 29. Then tomorrow, Sunday, more clouds than sun. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Sunday night, cloudy skies early will become partly cloudy late in the night. 41 as a high, 29 as a low. And then on Monday, 48 as a high, 26 as a low. Expected to be partly cloudy skies, high of 48, as I said. Clear skies on Monday night. 26 will be the low. And on Tuesday, we zoom back up into the higher temperatures. 53 is a high. Mostly sunny skies, and then 41 is a low, partly cloudy skies in the evening, and rounding out the forecast on Wednesday, partly cloudy skies in the morning will give way to cloudy skies during the afternoon, a high of 64 and a low of 41, considerable cloudiness on Wednesday night. And that is the weather brought to you right here from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center. And that's the weather here in the Wayne, New Jersey area. All right, I am going to introduce our first guest this morning, and that is Kevin Chuck Brown. Mr. Kevin Brown has transformed his own story of poverty, failure, and devastation, disappointments into an empowering model of faith, triumph, and contribution. A native of Louisiana and the son of a single mother, he fully embodied what we so casually called an at-risk youth, quote unquote. Despite dismal circumstances, he survived and thrived and has now dedicated his life to helping others to do the same. Against all odds, he graduated from Miles College with a bachelor's degree in biology and chemistry. He then attended Cambridge College, where he attained both a master's in special education and a specialist degree in curriculum and instruction. During his first seasons of service, he worked as a teacher, educational consultant, and mentor in the Dekalb County School District in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was recognized as the 2011-2012 Teacher of the Year. He instructed collaborative workshops designed to bridge the gap between all levels of educators and students, and is credited with developing and implementing a new and improved math curriculum in his district. He has since gone on to become an entrepreneur, author, inventor, and motivational speaker. In February 2015, Mr. Brown self-published his first autobiography, My Conversation with Life, telling his riveting journey of redemption. Over the last 2 years, he has addressed over 30 professional organizations and impacted thousands of people with his remarkable life story. He travels the country inspiring people, both young and old, to let go of the past, focus on what's possible, and be the star of their own show. He combines the lessons of his life with passion and charisma to motivate his audience to embrace the greatness within. Kevin currently resides in the Atlanta area. And when he is not writing, teaching, or speaking, he is spending time with his beautiful wife, Lori Brown, and their two wonderful kids, Aaron and Deja. His favorite pastime includes playing basketball, reading, and creating generational wealth for himself and others. His motto is dream big and never give up. Kevin, welcome to the Reading Circle.
How you doing, sir?
We are doing well. We are doing well. Well, as I said, I'm going to go ahead. I've introduced you. I'm going to share some information with the listening audience. And then when we come back from sharing that information, we are going to go on with our interview. So listening audience, now you know the drill. You are to get onto all your social media sites and let someone know that Kevin Brown is on the air with me sharing his story. They don't want to miss it. So wake them up. Text them, tweet them, Instagram them, Pinterest them, Facebook them, whatever you need to do to let them know that we're on the air live early on a Saturday morning on gobrave.org. And if they're in the northern New Jersey area, WP 88.7 FM.
What's up? Thinking about you. XOXOXO. Want to snuggle. ... JK. Hit me back. You getting these texts? ? We should hang later. I miss you. Holla at your boy. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you at home? Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. Are you with your ex? You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley on Brave New Radio.
You are listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley. My guest this morning, calling all the way from the Peachtree State, is Mr. Kevin Brown. Kevin, again, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to The Reading Circle, and let's go all the way to the beginning, because you're seeing here, or you're saying a story of redemption. In other words, just as I read in the opening, some things had to die in order for some changes to occur. And so let's go back to whenever you were in grammar school, because one of my first questions I always ask is, where did the writing thing begin? Was that something you always liked to do, and then as an adult, you decided you wanted to be an author, or did circumstances just happen that you just kind of said, you know what, I think I got a book in me, so I'm going to write a book? Where did this all begin?
Well, I come from very, 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 very humble beginnings. I want to thank you all. Thank you for having me on your show. Pretty much, it was so horrific, the circumstance I was placed in. I didn't see no way out. And writing, I didn't even like school, first of all. I didn't go to school to learn. I went to school to eat. I would go days without eating. I ate out of the trash can. And I failed kindergarten because of it. So when you talk about school and grammar school, I didn't really apply myself and see school as a tool to pretty much get me to another level. I just seen school as a place where I can seek refuge and shelter and get me something to eat. So it was kind of, I looked at school as a different. My mama didn't send me to school to learn. She sent me to school to eat.
Wow.
I ended up failing kindergarten because of it. And, you know, it's hard when your mom turns to you at 7 years old and tell you that pretty much she had contemplated on aborting you with a hanger. And as a kid, I always felt like I wasn't worthy and really I didn't want to be in this world. So I would journey into the woods and try to kill myself daily. a voice would keep me alive. And it told me all about what I was going to be doing today.
At what age?
I grew up in a...
I didn't want to cut you off, but I wanted to ask a question based on something you just said. You said your mother shared with you how she contemplated or thought about aborting you with a hanger. At what age did she tell you that?
I was 7.
7. So now she told you that as a 7-year-old child, and that obviously that stuck with you.
Yeah, and it was more to it because I was saved by a dream. Because I got other siblings, an older brother and older sister, and she said she didn't want to bring another child in this world without the means of being able to take care of him and not have my father. So she contemplated getting rid of the situation. I was called a situation at the time. But she said I was pretty much, she said that she sat on the edge of the bed and she was going to use a hanger. And she had burnt the ends and she was going to do it. She said she had to gather enough strength, so she said she was going to take a nap. They said when she took a nap, she found herself in a dream. And a dream led her to the cemetery. And said she was walking in the cemetery on a moonlit night. And said she was looking around trying to understand why she was in the cemetery. And said while she was walking, the ground started moving. She looked down, the ground was moving. And next thing you know, a hand rested to the ground. And it was my hand. And said God spoke to her and told her what my name was. His name is Kevin. All I need you to do is be the vessel to get him here. You're going to break generational curses. You're going to work on my behalf, and he will live. And said she woke up out of sleep, and she gathered my older brother and sister to the bedside and told them when Kevin get here, everything going to be okay. And that's why she didn't abort me.
Wow. Now, that's a testimony.
I was like the chosen. Yeah, I was like the chosen one in my family. I was like the Joseph in my family. I tell people. I grew up in a house. It was amazing.
That is some story.
Yeah. It's so much. And as a little kid, you know, it's kind of hard because when I was growing up in my youth, I grew up in a house where it looked like a horror story. I don't know if you see it on my website, but people can actually see the house. I grew up in a house where we didn't have a bathroom. I had to use the bathroom in a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. We didn't have a stove. We had a hot plate. We didn't have a refrigerator. We had an ice chest. We had to eat the food before it went bad. We didn't have a table. We had a milk crate and a cardboard box. And my mom would make us thank God for each other, drink water, and go to bed. I went days without eating. And that's why when I got to school, I didn't worry about no ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. I just wanted to eat. And it kind of put a damper on me because the kids past bullied me. They tormented me because of my situation.
Now, were those kids from the same area, the same neighborhood, or the same, because I know you're down in a rural area down in Louisiana, and I know generally in those areas the kids catch the bus to school. So did the kids live in the same area? How did they know your situation?
My house was the second house on the street. You had to pass my house going down. The bus had to pass my house going down the street, pick up all the kids, and then pass my house again, leaving out of the street. Now,
I'm looking at the picture of you, and I don't, at least based on the picture, project you being but so old. I don't see you as being somebody that would be 80, 90 years old, where the type of condition you described was kind of like the norm. For somebody that was living in that area maybe 100 years ago, that was like nobody had a bathroom, nobody had, but you look, clearly not much older than, maybe 40-ish or so.
I just turned 40.
Okay,
so I just turned 40, and most people it's just unbelievable the circumstance, and the picture is on my website. A lot of people, it's hard to explain something like that, and people be like, "You lived in that."
But see, that's why I'm saying, and wow, I hit it dead on when I said 40, because I said he looks about 40. But 40 years ago, people had bathrooms and refrigerators and so forth, and stoves and so on and so on. And what I'm saying is, like, if it was double that time, 80 or 100 years ago, folks didn't have it, and that was kind of the norm. But by the time you came along, those things were kind of like the norm. Yet you were saying you all didn't have them.
Yeah. My mom made bad decisions.
Right. And of course, just like, because I'm going somewhere with these questions with you, especially since you wound up entering education. And so for those of you who are educators in the listening audience, this is a story that you really need to hear what we're saying, what Kevin and I are saying, in terms of appreciating the students that come to you every day, because you have no idea what your kids may be going through once they leave the school and before they come to school. That's where I'm going with this questioning with Kevin, because we'll get to the book in a few minutes, but just listening to his story is driving a different set of questions for me. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and leap to that part. You became a teacher. What did your experiences do for you in terms of now serving the children that you teach?
It's pretty much one statement. I was a teacher I never had.
Wow. So, all right, that leads me to my next question. So that means the kids that you grew up with, they knew your situation, but your teachers didn't know.
My teachers, they should have had a clue or idea because because of my, like I say, I should have been labeled every special need title that they can give a child. But I wasn't, by the grace of God. And the reason why I say that is, in my story also at 6, 7, and 8, my sister tried to kill me 3 times also. And because of those things, the first time she actually, I was sitting in that foot tub, and she poured a big pot of hot scalding water on top of me, and I had second-degree burns all over my body. I ain't know nothing about no defects. I ain't know nothing about no social workers. I ain't know nothing about no people agencies that's supposed to help kids in these kind of situations. And I don't know why nobody seen the sign. I was giving them off every day. I was hungry. I wasn't doing anything in class. All I did was eat and sleep. And I don't remember none of my teachers in grade school names. They never said anything to me. They never encouraged me. They never spoken to my greatness. They never wrote on my blank slate. And I would sit there and watch the teachers point to other kids and tell them what they were going to be, and they can't wait to see what they're going to become. And I would have to watch that. And I never remember a teacher calling on me for nothing. All I remember is one teacher, and that when I got to the 7th grade. That's the only teacher I remember. And she was a science teacher. And that's maybe why I became almost a scientist. So,
well, it probably is. Yeah, no, seriously, it probably is, because you said that's the one teacher that stood out for you, and most likely because of that, that's why you went that way, or either that was a subject you really liked. The class makeup, was it mixed? Was it a segregated school, or was it a mixed school with Caucasian kids and African American kids, or was it predominantly African American?
It was mixed.
It was a mix. So the kids that she was calling on, was she calling on the Caucasian kids and not you as an African American, or was she calling on everybody else but you?
It was always, I don't say it was biased, but it was like everybody except me, because I was a little kid that didn't say nothing. I had little dingy clothes. I didn't have one outfit. That's it. And I didn't put forth no effort. I was just there. Like, I was just a body. And I was starving. I was neglected. I tell people all the time, I was neglected the 5 basic needs that all humans should have. And I tell the kids, I know why they act the way they do. And that's why I can relate to so many of them. And I get results from those kids. Because I was a kid that the teachers would not want to come to class. And, I tell people, hurt people. And I was very angry. I would have been labeled EBD because I was very hyper and very angry. And I loved to fight because I was screaming on the inside for help. And so I would do things to other kids so they can feel the same pain that I was going through. But nobody ever asked me what was going on. And when my sister did that to me, pretty much that was eternal scars. The second time she hit me in the head with an iron rod, and I was in a coma for about a couple of days. And when I came out of that, I should have been labeled TBI, traumatic brain injury, but I wasn't. And that part there was very dear to my heart, because that's when I started hearing voices. And the voices kept me alive, because the voices would tell me all about what I was going to be doing today. I couldn't tell nobody that I was hearing voices, because people would have really thought I was going crazy. I thought I was going crazy. I didn't want to live. I would take myself into the woods and try to hang myself daily, but that voice wouldn't let me do it. And it would tell me, go up high and put in a tree. And I would actually climb the tree, and I would spend time in the tree because I didn't have friends. And I would sit in that tree for hours and cry. And that voice would tell me all about what I was going to be doing today. And most of the time I get kind of emotional about thinking about it, because that's all I had was a voice
What was driving? You said your sister tried to kill you. What was driving that? Was she playing, or was she seriously trying to take you out, and why?
Well, she told me some years ago. Why? I didn't even know she was trying to kill me until a couple of years ago. But pretty much she had her own. My mama showed favoritism because of that dream and because of the thing was going on. I was in my mama's dream, and my mama pretty much showed favoritism. I tell anybody that got kids, you don't show favoritism like my mama did.
Absolutely.
My mama put her all into me. Everything was about Kevin. She taught me how to cook, clean, wash, soap, and she was speaking to me, and she taught me something. Another reason why I like science and math. She would teach me about the stars, and she was very educated, but she quit school in 11th grade. But she poured everything that she wanted to be, I am. And then some. She taught me about the almanac and understanding how plants grow and how the moon really, really plays a big part on our lives, and how to really deal with our earth and Mother Earth. And she taught me about all of pretty much I would hurt myself, and she would do things and heal it herself. She was like the doctor. And everything that, the science part of me, that's where I get that from also, is my mom. And pretty much my sister, she got jealous, and because of it, Mama wasn't giving her attention, and she took it out on me.
Wow, I mean, you really do have this. You really do have kind of like the Joseph story going on there.
Yeah.
Because like Joseph we had the robe of the color, the robe of many colors, and the favorite of the father, and the brothers got jealous. You really got that story going on there. I tell you what, I need to share some more information with the listening audience, but if you just joined us, my guest this morning is Kevin Brown, and we're talking about his book, My Conversation with Life. And he's working us through his situation as a youngster. And wow, it is riveting. I'm sitting here because whenever you're in radio, you turn the mic button off. And I'm just sitting here like, wow, as you're telling the story, because it's so many things that's going through my mind listening to you tell it. Because there's when I come back from sharing the information, I'll go on with the conversation. But for those who did not live that way, it's hard to imagine. And my guess would be, for those who do live that way, it's hard to imagine the reverse. I can only imagine that for you, as a kid in that situation, you probably could wish and want and dream for it to be the other way. But I'm quite sure it was kind of hard for you to imagine what it must be like for a kid that has food. What is it like for a kid that has clothes? What is it like for a kid that has heat in the house? What is it like for a kid that has a house? What is it like for a kid that has a bathroom? I'm quite sure those thoughts had to go through your mind at some point. And we'll talk a little bit about that whenever we rejoin the listening audience, because I'm going to share some information with you, but you know what to do. Get on your social media sites and tell someone Kevin Brown is telling a story that may wind up being a tearjerker.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley on Brave New Radio.
Yes, indeed. And my guest this morning is Kevin Chuck Brown, and we're talking about his book, My Conversation with Life. And just listening to what I've heard so far, that has been some conversation. Right before I shared the information with the audience, Kevin, I was talking about depending on which way you grew up would give you a totally different perspective. And so did you ever, in all of that time, just sit and wonder what it must be like for a kid that's not in the situation you're in?
Well, I really ain't have time.
I thought so.
Yeah, I was pretty much I got a strong mind, and I would actually imagine and live that in my mind every day, what it would be like and what it's going to be like. I never stayed where I was in my mind.
Right.
My mind would always take me to where I was going to be, and I enjoyed that. And I would, how kids got imagination a bit.
Right.
I got a huge imagination. I didn't get Christmas toys. I went 8 birthdays, 8 Christmases with nothing. So I would get the actual Sears catalog out of the trash and find one, and I would cut out all the gifts and stuff I thought I wanted, and that would be my toys, and that would be my gifts, and I was happy with that. And I imaginated pretty much, and I had friends in the neighborhood as time went on that they had all the things that, and they would look out for me and give me their hand-me-down clothes, and they would feed me and look out for me. So I had a little bit of that with the close friends I did gain as time went on, but I really didn't have time to think about what other people was doing, because I thought, I don't know, I didn't know, I thought I was just being punished or something for having to live like this as a kid. So, you know.
See, let me tell you, stories like this get to me only because, to me, from a child's perspective, childhood should be the best time of anyone's life. In terms of, first off, you only get one childhood. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And that should be, like, those first 18 years or 15 or 16 years or whatever, that should be the time in your life where you're filled with no worries for the most part, because you, for the most part, don't have to pay bills. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to, all you really do have to be is a child and play. But for a lot of our kids, as you know, and you're one of them, that's not the case. You actually become an adult or have adult worries as a child. And for me, that is always so sad, because as you also know, once we get to be adults, it's on.
It's on. You don't have time again. You know, it's like, and that's what you just said is the issue with our youth and the one we call trouble youth, because most of the kids, like I spoke to some kids Wednesday, and that's what they're saying, why we don't have any fun? Why we can't have any fun? They can't have any fun at home because they got to be grown. So when they get to school, like I did, I want to have fun.
Right.
And you don't have time to have fun because you're supposed to be working. So it's like a disconnect from the teacher and the students. And as teacher, I'm the best of both worlds, because as a teacher, I got to push the paperwork. I got to make sure they get everything they need to be successful in the classroom. And sometimes I neglect them on having fun and being a teenager. And I try to take that away from them. And them kids ain't going to let you take that part away from their freedom. That's one of the basic needs. Their freedom and fun. And I'm sorry, and they're not going to let you take that away from them, and they'll do everything in their power to get them some fun. So it's like a catch-22 when you're being a teacher. You got to be able to balance and be an actor and understand where they're coming from. Because, like I said, I'm the teacher I never had, so I teach the kids just like my own. Right. My son is 18, and my daughter's 13. And I don't teach the kids like they taught me to teach them.
Right.
I feel like they're confusing the kids.
Right. I agree.
It's sad. And I taught my kids math and science, and they make all A's. And my daughter got a letter from Obama. So she is considered gifted. And it ain't because she's just so special. Right. Because the way I prepared her.
Absolutely.
Preparation.
See, and you're going down a road, because I'm in education as well, and that's why I can speak the way that I speak. There's a stark difference in our children based on parenting. And in education, and I know why they have to do it, but in education, the parenting piece oftentimes is discounted. But I tell you what, you show me a child that the parents are trying to do, and even if they're not perfect, even if they're not educated, but you show me a parent that's pushing education somewhere in the household, and I'll show you a pretty decent student. And if you show me a parent who's not pushing it, you might get a decent student. The student may just say, I'm going to do it on my own, but 9 times out of 10, you don't. To hear you say what you just said about your daughter is because of you and your wife taking the time to do what you need to do as parents.
It's very critical. Parents is the key. You know, then when I'm trying to get results out of these kids that everybody gave up on, and any kid that's making D's and F's and got a attendance problem, let me see him. Right. That's what I'm looking for right there. Because I was able to, and when I was in school, you can miss 20 days. I know for sure I missed 19 and a half every day. On purpose. No, it's serious. I'm being
I know you are. I know, because
I ain't going to waste the days. I'm not going to waste the days. You mean tell me I can use them? That's cool with me. And the teacher would make deals with the kind of stuff the teacher would do to me. All right, Kevin, let's make a deal. If you don't come to school, I'm going to give you a D. I say, that's what I'm talking about. And I was cool with that. My mama didn't push education. She didn't care. She just cared about me surviving. Right. The son is just stay alive. Right. That's all I ask you to do. And don't end up in penitentiary. And I failed a lot. I failed again in 9th grade. I failed again in 10th grade. Oh, failure is a part of the process.
Right.
Failure don't have nothing to do with me and me going to my greatness.
Right.
Failure is just, really, I didn't fail because I got to take it over again. So me, I just got to get even better at it. That's how I look at it. I look at that thing. The glass is always going to be half full with me. You meet me, that's just who I am. Because I done went through so much, and I'm built to last. Stuff don't rattle me like another person. They can cut off every water, lights, and gas, and I'd have been poor. You can't take me no lower than where I was. I ain't had nothing. I could have lived outside. I ate dirt. And I imagined it being food.
Wow.
So a person, I'm coming from a different angle when I'm teaching these kids. And like I said, I'm the teacher I never had. I'm the father I never had. I'm the friend I never had.
And
every change I wanted to see, I became.
Absolutely, based on your experience. And see, that's why, again, in terms of you being in the classroom or in education, period, you have something that a lot of teachers don't have, which will give you the compassion that you need to deal with the kids, which is why they connect with you. My guess is they probably cling to you because you understand what they're going through. Right.
I'm a cool teacher because, like I said, I got an 18-year-old son. I understand. I know the lingo, and I treat him just like a young man. And he got a full scholarship to LaGrange College. He played football. The boy that's smart. They don't study. They just got it. Once you got that foundation, and most time I tell kids, anytime they're 2-3 grade levels behind, all they have to do is, in the summer months, go to Walmart and get one of them workbooks.
That's right.
And they can fix that gap. It's just a gap. It's just a gap in their learning. If they fix the gap, patch the hole up, it will be okay. But most people is lingering on, and next thing you know, they be grown-ups with the same issue.
Absolutely.
Never went back to fix their problem.
That's right.
I felt all that failure. Kindergarten, 9th grade, 10th grade. I crawled to graduation with a 1.9. I graduated with 1.9. And I tell people, I dumbed myself down. First of all, it wasn't because I couldn't do the work. I always was smarter than everybody in my doggone neighborhood. I dumbed myself down to fit in.
Absolutely. And see, you're describing exactly what happens today. And this week, the school that I'm in, yesterday was our last day of school for a week until spring break. And I told the kids, I said, the same thing that you just said about trying to fill that gap. I said, don't go home this week and let your brain do nothing. Over the week that you're off, read a magazine, read a book, do some math problems, do something to keep your brain going so that when you come back on Tuesday, your teacher doesn't have to start all over again as if he or she was in September. Told them the words yesterday. And so for you to say what you were saying about over the summertime, get those workbooks and do that. Now, again, back to this connection, because sometimes you have really, like you say, you became the teacher that you did not have. A lot of times our teachers just cannot connect with the kids because they didn't have that lifestyle and they just have no clue. Like you say, a child, like you say, you went to school and I know this was 40 years ago for you, and it's hard to believe that was going on, but we still have kids that come to my school for the same reason. They come to school because they're going to get breakfast, they're going to get a lunch, and if they stay to the after-school program, they're going to get almost a dinner. It's a snack, but it's almost dinner. And I know for a lot of the kids that I serve, they're in that same predicament.
And sir, the thing about it, I tell any educator that's on this line, the key to my success in education is beat the kid to a story. Most teachers don't share that they done failed at anything. They don't open up. And I know they don't want, they tell you don't tell your business and everything. But for a kid to let their guards down and let you pour into them, you must find some kind of common ground where you can meet them where they are. Because you done been a child before too. You done made mistakes. And like I tell the kids all the time, I don't lie no more and I don't steal no more. And they look at me strange. I'm being honest. I used to lie a lot and steal. I was in the gang. I tell them all my insecurities. I done cried. I done made mistakes. I ain't been perfect. And when I tell them that, the first day of school, I don't have no issues in my class. I don't have no classroom management problems because I'm not going to take no excuses. I don't take advice from failures and quitters. So you're not going to come to my classroom telling me the dog ate your homework.
Right.
Because I know. You can do it on the bus.
That's
you can do it in the hallway. I don't care where you do it at. Find it. Copy it. Get it to me. And you know what I'm saying? Get it. You need to learn how to play the game. And most of our kids are playing to lose.
Right.
Because nobody has taught them, because dad is not there, and they got to be a father in some of these households. So when they get to school, you can't tell a young man that feel like he's a man at home to sit down and shut up.
That's right.
No. He's not gonna go. That's not gonna go too well. And when I was in school, I was like, you know what, man? Before this go the wrong way, I'm gonna go down and not come to your class, because I see this ain't gonna. The first thing a lady say, this is my classroom, and you gonna come in and sit down and shut up. Okay, you're right. This is your classroom, and you know what? I'm gonna stay outside of it. I see this ain't gonna work between me and you. It's not a respect thing.
That's right.
Like, it's a certain way. It is how I do things. 'Cause I know what I'm dealing with. I respect everybody.
Right.
Like I got friends that went to prison. It's prison rules. You respect everything around you. You respect your surroundings, and respect that other person. And you might not have no problem.
No, it's true.
Everybody's different.
And you are so right in terms of learning how to play the game and playing to win versus playing to lose. And in terms of, back to what we were saying about the parenting, and like you said, because I'd say the same thing in terms of the kids that I serve. I always tell them, and actually I don't. I don't tell the kids. I have 480 kids, 485 kids in my school, and I tell all of them, I treat them as if they were truly my own kids. The same advice I give my biological kids are the same advice that I give them. And so for many of our kids, we actually do step into that parent role. Like, and I'm sure.
We are parents.
Exactly.
We are parents. I'm telling you. They called me up. I'm telling you, it's so sad. Young ladies are starving so much for attention from young men. You know what I'm saying? They look at me as they actually, that's my daddy. You
right.
All claiming me, and I'm like, okay. And it's a respect thing. And I tell them,
that's right.
How to conduct themselves. Cover up. Don't show everything. You don't show everything. That's how the boys going to treat you. And they respect that because they don't have a man telling them. They're starving for attention. And the young boys, I tell them how to be young men. And, you know what I'm saying? We feel like they're not listening, but
they are.
Sometimes the kids have their head down. They're like, Mr. Brown, thank you. A kid told me that 2 days ago. It almost made me cry.
Yep.
And I was just sharing my story. I don't even know the kid. And I thought he had a question. I said, you got a question? And he raised his hand, and all he said was, thank you. I'm like, wow. I know what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And you're right. Whenever you get for me, that's why I open up the show with that book on gratitude, because especially when a child comes to me and say thank you for something like that, it will almost bring you to tears. And it was the point that you were making about the kids coming to school, and it's hard to tell them what to do, because this goes back to what we were saying in terms of they didn't have the opportunity to be the child. They had to be an adult at 4, 5, 6 years old. In other words, the dad's not in the house. The 5-year-old boy is the man of the house. So it is difficult for them to turn that off when they come into the classroom. You're absolutely correct. It sounds like your same experiences down in Georgia and in Louisiana are the same experiences I'm having here in New Jersey.
It's everywhere.
It is.
Sad. Like, I got kids that, little girl, like I taught all the higher level math, calculus, pre-cal, statistics. So I'm in class, it's early in the morning. I got to play a little music, get them going, and crack a joke or two. And the little girl said, I'm tired, Mr. Brown, I need to take a nap. I said, well, she said, I've been working all last night. I said, okay, where you work at, Kroger? CVS, where you working? She said, no, I was on that pole all last night. Said, oh, Lord. And she opened her purse, she got money falling out. And this is the kind of situation I deal with.
Wow.
In my class, you guys, anybody I talk with, I would have 40 kids in the class with me. 40. Everybody want a piece of Mr. Brown.
Oh, yeah. When they find a teacher they can trust.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Everybody. And, it's just amazing that, we just, and I commend any teacher. And my hat goes off to you. And so many teachers, and most time I speak to teachers in schools, they have me come speak to the staff. And I have to, I say, how many teachers have kids that's disconnected, have maybe a grade level 2 behind, like to fight, angry, and let's go through a list of things. And they raise their hand. I say, okay. And I say, well, that was me. And then I say, and I give them, most times I have the administrators get the staff some lemonade. Have everybody drink some lemonade. And they just don't realize they're playing right into what I'm trying to do and the point I'm trying to get across. And then I tell them the process of lemonade, lemons to lemonade. And I tell them about the lemon. The kids are the lemons. They're bright and they're full of potential. But when you cut them, they're full of bitterness, anger, despair. and we don't know who to cut on them. And we try to squeeze them into this picture, which is a classroom. And we try to water them down as teachers with our doctrines, with water. And we add water to this bitter lemon, and now we got bitter water. And then we do love them, and we got compassion, and we put a little sugar in there. But we can't get the sweet lemonade until I feel like God give us that ingredient to make it all come together. And that's that understanding and meeting them where they are and bringing it all together, taking our love, compassion, and what we're trying to accomplish and speaking to their greatness. And we don't start speaking to these. I don't judge myself from where I'm at today. Today gonna change. It's not gonna stay the same.
Right.
So any kid I come in contact with, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you quit school. That ain't the end of your story. Stop letting people write and create your story. This is my story. I tell people, don't be an extra in your own movie. Tired of people being directors. Yeah, you done got me going now, man.
I guess I love that lemonade story. I mean, I'm like, wow, that's on point. That lemonade.
Yeah, man. I finished. Yeah, everybody said, "Oh man, it's good."
That lemonade story is on point, and then you just followed it up with that whole thing about don't be an extra in your. Yes, yeah, you going. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was a bitter lemon, and I was poured into a classroom, and I told you I didn't do well, and I'm pretty sure the teachers love the kids and love what they do, but I still, if you don't stir that sugar up, you just put sugar in some water, it ain't gonna be sweet. It's just gonna be water and sugar.
That's right. That's right.
The process of chemical, mixing up chemicals. You got to mix them up for it to take that reaction and the action. And once that happens, then you can pour me into a cup and give me to the community or give me to the world, and everybody say it's good. Now I'm good. Now I don't look like what I went through. I got the houses, the cars. I live a dream life. I travel the world. But it ain't always been like that because I was that bitter lemon.
Right.
That was full of bitterness, and I hate it. In my book, if some of my book is about forgiveness.
And see, that's
everybody that ever hurt me.
You taking it right where I want to go next, and that is about the book, because we're down to our last 15 minutes or so, but we can run over a little bit if need be, because my next guest is calling in about 7:15. But as soon as I share this information with the audience, when we come back, I want to jump right into the book, because we've worked our way up to it now, because I want to know, when did you decide I'm going to put this into a book? So hang on to that thought. I'm going to share this with the audience. If you've just joined me, I'm sad because I wish you'd have been with us at 6, because this is some story. My guest is Kevin Brown, and we're talking about his book, A Conversation or My Conversation with Life.
My name is Diamonds. I am a radio DJ in North Jersey. I broadcast on the frequency of 88.7 FM. I will be on the air every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. when the sun is setting in the sky. If you are out there, if anyone is out there, I can provide music, I can provide entertainment. If there's anybody out there, anybody, please.
Club Melting Pot. Every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Only on WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio.
Man, that lemonade story is powerful. I mean, I
mess with them a little bit. I like, you do things where people really can use it, and it can go into their soul. If you don't touch even the kids, I do things with a book, because I didn't read my first book till I got out of college. Now, you explain that. My first book, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, all right now. I know that book.
Yeah, and I read The Black Experience, Marcus Kimbrough, and after that I read the Napoleon Hill. Now I read everything I get my hands on, because I was kind of miseducated. So I'm still working on the genius that I came in this world with, because I never used it.
So
I stealed it from the world. I hid it.
How did you now come to the conclusion, I'm going to put this in book form?
Well, I didn't. Like my family, my siblings, like I said, and kind of full circle, I was the little chosen one in my family, and I'm the richest. I'm the first one to go to college, the first one to get married. Everything you can name, the generation of curses, I am. So that came, everything my mama said was true. And I went on with life, and, I pretty much, I just took a chance on my life. I tell people to stop being an extra in their own movie and take a chance on you. So I left home in Louisiana in the middle of the night, my mama borrowed $75 and I left home. $75, and I went to Birmingham, Alabama, and that's where I went and walked on the basketball team, and that's when I ended up in college. So pretty much the book part, I always say I want to be a writer. I don't know why. I just looked at interested in me. And I didn't like writing. I didn't like reading. I didn't like nothing about that kind of stuff. I just like math and science. So years went on, and pretty much my family tried to put that behind them. And I'm the only person in my family got a picture of that house. Because they care to think about it or take their memories back to that.
Right.
And I'm glad I got a picture of that house. Oh, my God. Because it keeps me humble even today. Right. And you can tell a person you lived in a house like I did and you used the bathroom in a bucket and you didn't have a stove, refrigerator, none of the things that people have. And pretty much I lived like an animal almost when days without eating. Sisters tried to kill me 3 times. Mama wanted to abort me with a hanger. I feel like my whole community failed me. And my uncle, even the church. And when I speak at churches, I really, really go in at churches because I was mad at the church and God at the time.
Right.
And that's when the conversation come along. I'm having a conversation with life. Everybody going to have a conversation. Why I was born.
Right.
Why me. You're going to have a conversation. Keep living. And pretty much, I promise you, keep living. I just went through a lot early. And, God told me, he asked me, he says, and I was mad at God one day, and he said, boy, don't you, and I questioned him because my uncle was a pastor of 2 churches at the time, and he lived on the side of that little ragged house I described. Like I said, you can go look at my page on Facebook, Kevin Chuck Brown, you will see that house that I'm talking about. Or you can go on my website, KB Brown Speaks.
Right, that's where I am, and I'm looking right at it. Yeah, exactly.
All you're going to be is I don't know what you say. Everybody, the kids, I'm talking about every time I show at the first day of school, I don't read no rules and regulations. I respect yourself, respect me, respect the class. That's my rule. And look at this story. I'm about to tell you about your teacher. And after that, kids in there crying, they look at me crazy. How you made it? How you got here? So the book came along. I kept on, putting it off, and I tried to put that behind me, and I wouldn't tell nobody my past because I was pretty much trying to bury it. But God came to me and told me, I need you to tell that story. Somebody else need to hear it. And I procrastinated. I still hid it. I wasn't hearing God. I was trying to silence that voice because I didn't want to bring that up no more. I thought that was done. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want nobody to look at me weird. And I had an assignment in grad school, and my professor asked me, asked the class, would you come up with a story that would want to make students want to read? Something encouraging, something powerful, something that will make this new generation want to read something. And I remember that little voice come back to me again. It comes back periodically, and it said, you need to tell your story. And I'm like, tell what story? Tell about the old house and tell about how you got here. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm talking to myself. But then I end up doing it. And I end up telling the story in a PowerPoint form in my classroom at my grad school to my colleagues. And I end up telling the story like it was my friend. I say, my friend gave me power to tell a story, and I didn't want to share it with a young boy that I grew up with, went through. And I told it like third person. And I told the story, and at the end I had a picture of me. And they was all looking at me like, why are you at the end of the story? I said, well, this is my story. It's a true story. And pretty much most of the people in there was crying. And my professor came to me, Dr. Frederick. And she came to me and said, Kevin, I will help you pay for it. I will pay for it if I have to. You need to write this story. The world and these kids need to hear this. And I'm looking at her like, what? You serious? And I still procrastinated another 5 years after that. And then God woke me up in the middle of the night and told me, I told you, write the story. And I woke up and I started writing. And I wrote that verse in my conversation with life. And like I said, it just flowed out of me. It just came out of me. And I know I had something when I started reading, I couldn't even read a good 2 pages of it, reading to my wife and my kids. I started crying because I didn't understand how a young person could go through what I went through. It's like I'm numb to it or something now. It's weird, but it's like, wow. And I had to pretty much, my book, like I said, is about forgiveness. I had to forgive my past and everything in it for me to get to where I'm at today. And if I wouldn't have did that, once I forgave all them people, my life started flourishing. I can't give blame to somebody else for my future.
Right.
So I had to let that go and bury that and go it on and grab my future and go it on and be what that voice told me I was going to become. And today I live that life.
Now, I'm looking at your webpage. That's what I've been looking at all morning, the kbbrownspeaks.com. And the picture of the house is there. And right under it, and I don't want to make the assumption, but I mean, it's an obvious assumption. That's your family. Am I correct? That's the 2 kids and your wife?
Yep.
Okay. So
that's what I live for.
If you put, I like the way you put the house on the top and your family on the bottom, because it shows where you can come from and where you can go to. Because as his bio says, he has a beautiful wife, 2 children, has a beautiful family. But if you look right above that is this house that he keeps describing for you. And I can only imagine if you did what you said you were going to do, or you did rather, in terms of the PowerPoint presentation, and then you didn't put your picture to the end, I know there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Because just with you telling it this morning, just with you telling the story this morning on the air, I'm sure there are some folks who are crying. If my mother's listening, I know she's one of them. If she's listening, I know she's one of them in tears in terms of just hearing everything that you described as a child. And like I said, my heart always has a soft spot for kids. So when you hear kids struggling, because you know what, this is why I have a soft spot for kids, because none of us asked to come here. There's not a person alive that said, gee, I want you to birth me. Gee, I want you to be my parents. We don't ask to come here. So the expectation is once we're here that whoever had us is going to take care of us. And they're going to provide all the things that you say your parents wasn't able to provide. And the thing is, you're not alone. There are a lot of kids, because I was teasing about it only being 40 years ago, but there are kids right here in 2016 that are going through that same experience that you described 40 years ago.
It's real. It's really clear. Like I got students that will come to me because they know my story, and we got like I tell a kid, if you ever going through something you feel like you want to end it all, you need to say something. Let me know. At least give me a chance to say something.
Right.
And I had a kid. I guess he called me on that one. He came to class, and I know him, and I know his situation. It was like mine. And he came to class that day, and he had a look on his eye. He looked at me, and I thought we were having fun. And he looked at me and said, Mr. Brown, the day is the day. You better say something. And I'm like, uh-oh. And everybody in the class knows what that means.
Right.
Like we go on the protocol, and pretty much I got my smartest kid, my 2 smart. There's always 2 smart kids in the class.
Right.
I can't teach them. So I get them. I pay them every Friday, so I get them to go down and take over the class, and I go deal with this situation. Wait. And I say, well, I remember when I sat on the edge of the bed, even myself, even when that spirit came back to me to try to get me to sabotage my future and kill myself again. That's one thing, but the enemy got to get permission to really mess with you. And he really wants you to do it to yourself, because really that's the only thing he cares about, because he's got more faith in you than you do.
That's right.
He's already picked into your future. He knows you're going to become. And I didn't understand that till later on. And I would tell the young man, I kind of beat him to the story. I said, okay, I've been there. I don't want to sit there and want to kill myself. I was, like I said, that book, the first book is like a warm-up compared to when I got to college. That's when all hell broke loose, and it's going to be good. But I share that with the kids, and I kind of bring him back down to reality to show him, like, hey, you're not the only one going through this. I'm here to share it with you, and if there's anything I can do to ease your pain, you're going to have to forgive whoever hurt you.
Wow.
You're going to have to forgive that, because it's killing you, man. It was killing me on the inside out. And I was dying every day, faster. I know we come here to die, but I was dying even faster because I was holding on to it, and I didn't want nobody to share my hurt. I just wanted to hold on to it. No, they hurt me. Somebody needed, and I was inside. I was building up an army, and I wanted to kill everybody around me. That's why I was so angry as a kid, and I fought so much. And I was very dangerous when I was coming up, because I was hurting so bad, and nobody was paying attention to me. Nobody was seeing me as a great young man. Nobody was speaking to what I can become. And I was starving for it. And pretty much I was looking for happiness in all the wrong places. And that's why I joined the gang. And I tell the kids, I tell them why I joined the gang, why I did what I did. And it almost cost me my life. But, I understand why these kids join gangs. They want, the 5 basic. Anybody want to understand the days you look at and research the 5 basic needs that all humans desire to have.
That's right. Maslow's
I didn't
hierarchy.
have
That's right. Maslow's hierarchy.
I was neglected all of them. And poverty plays a big part in this.
Yes.
And not having a father and not having that stable upbringing like my kids and some of my friends. And, after that, it becomes choices. And when you don't have those things in place, you're already behind and you're going to make bad decisions. It's sad. You're just going to go down the wrong road. Hopefully it don't kill you. Some people can make it. Some people like me. It was only by the grace of God that I'm here. I'm in my right mind. I never did drugs. I did sell them. I was not a good person.
But I tell you, if there ever is a message and I'm talking about like those of us that travel around the country and do workshops for teachers, if there ever was a workshop that ought to be for teachers, it ought to be that whole thing of what you just described, of trying to get teachers to see it, to get teachers to understand where the kids are coming. Because if they ever get to that point to get a better appreciation from where the kids are coming from, they'll have a better standpoint of how to deal with what they're dealing with. Because you just described that anger. I got a building full of angry kids. And they're angry because of the things you just described.
Yeah, we treating the symptom.
Right.
We're not going to get no high test scores. We're not going to get no high reading scores if we don't go back and deal with the root problem. But then that stems back to too much poverty and too much other things, no fathers and all. That stuff is huge.
Right.
And it's kind of hard. So all you can do is, my secret, I don't share it all the time, but my secret is to teachers is to speak to that person that they can become, that potential, that full of potential they are. And if you go to a child and say, man, you're going to be great, and they got all else, man, I see you being an A student, they're going to look at you crazy because they don't even see that yet. And I had to latch on to a person to speaking to me until I was able to grab onto it, that voice. So if you start speaking until they're great, because look at me, I failed kindergarten, I failed 9th grade, I failed 10th grade, all the graduation, I graduated at 1.9. Now I got 3 degrees. I got a degree in biology and chemistry. I got a master's degree in special education, and I got a specialist in curriculum instruction. I helped write the math curriculum for our whole county. I explained that. What happened? Some kind of turn of event. Yeah, I latched on to who I can become instead of who I was, because who I was temporary. Anybody can change.
That's right.
It's all through the Bible. Every Bible that people read about, everybody in that Bible changed.
That's right.
Something that happened, a triggered it. Somebody spoken to everybody in the Bible. That's why it was so critical for our ancestors and our grandfathers and our mothers and fathers speaking to their kids, because every time they spoken to a kid before they died, they told them what they were going to become, and they gave them their name.
That's
they
right.
gave them their inheritance, which is their greatness.
That's right. Well, I tell you what, we're in the 7 o'clock hour.
That's the whole point.
Hang on right there. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I had to do in the 6 o'clock hour. I'm going to do that. I want you to stay on the line. My next guest is calling at 7:15, but stay on the line. Don't move, because the story is good. This is another one of them hot conversations. And folks in the listening audience, that this is one you need to hear, because you deal with these same type of children that Kevin and I are talking about, whether you're a teacher or not. You deal with them in your neighborhoods, you deal with them in your streets, and there is a root cause as to why folks act the way they act. They don't act the way they act just for the sake of acting like that. There's something driving that behavior, and that's what we're talking about this morning. So stay there, Kevin. I'm going to go ahead and share the weather and do what I need to do as we change over into the hour. But man, this conversation is right on point.
WPSC, Wayne, New Jersey. On the radio, 88.7 FM. Online, gobrave.org. A tune-in radio station. Part of the William Patterson Broadcast Network.
Broadcasting live from Hobart Hall in Wayne, New Jersey. This is the innovative.
I think they're really unique.
The fearless. They have awesome variety. The kick-ass. I love Brave New Radio. The sensational.
I've never heard anything like it.
This is the one and only Brave New Radio.
Straight from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center, here's your local forecast.
Right now, we are at 31.2 degrees, and it feels like it. Today is going to be partly cloudy here in the Wayne, New Jersey area, then becoming cloudy during the afternoon. We're looking at a high of 49 and a low of 28, and then tomorrow on Sunday, overcast, a few flurries or showers are possible. 49 as a high, 29 as a low. And then on Monday, 48 as a high, 26 as a low. It's going to be partly cloudy during the day, clearing up during the night. And for Tuesday, sunny along with a few clouds, high of 54, low of 41. And rounding out the forecast for on Wednesday, 64 as a high, 41 as a low. That is the weather brought to you right here from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center. Well, if you've just joined us, I'm actually coming close to the end of my interview with Kevin Brown, but I'm awaiting my second guest to call in, Dr. Eddie M. Connor Jr. So I have two men this morning. A lot of times, Kevin, many of my guests are females. And today I actually have two brothers, two men. I have two males guests, you, and then following you is going to be Dr. Eddie M. Connor. And his book is not, I don't have to see if he's in education also, but his book is also about the power of what God can do. And listening to your story, there's no question that you're sharing with us the power of God to go from, for the most part, and no disrespect, and I don't know if that's how you refer to it, but to go from a shack to where you at. I mean, I used to teach a course, a public speaking course, and we always got into connotation and denotation. And I always would use, the different titles that we give a place of, where we live, because the denotation is the house, is a dwelling. But when you get into connotation, that's whenever you get into all the different names: mansion, shack, crib, my rest, my this, that, and the other. And we would always go through that whole thing. And when you start talking, we say, okay, what comes to mind when you say mansion? And the students would always give the big room. All right, what comes to mind when you say shack? And so when I'm looking at that picture, what you're describing is what pops into my mind whenever I hear somebody say a shack.
Everybody say that. I don't know. I thought it was a horror movie.
And see again, I sit there and it's like, wow, this is because, again, in schools, kids are not going to tell you that I'm living in a horror movie, but it is in their mind and in their spirits.
They don't want to go home.
Right. But the teacher will not see that, or won't because the kid is not saying it. The teacher won't know that. But and they're wondering why isn't this kid getting 2 + 2 = 4? They're not getting it because their mind is not on that. Their mind is on the horror story.
Yeah, and exactly what happened. When I talk to elementary now, there's something about elementary teachers. They're so passionate and they cry at the drop of a dime. They try so hard because they got the task of writing on our our slate ain't blank because our environment and our parents are our first teachers, but they got the task of they got the beginning of this education thing and writing on us. And if they don't do their part, they get by them some kind of way like I did, they go to middle school.
Hey.
Now the middle school teacher got to try to play catch up with what the elementary teachers did, so they got to try to speak into my greatness. They got a second chance to do it. Now, then if they get by the middle school like most kids, they get to high school.
Right.
To me. Now, I got to go back and try to correct 3-4 grade levels behind. Kids never reading.
Right.
They don't like their home. They don't like their mama. They don't like school. Why I got to be here. I don't like, I don't even like you, so I got to try to stick into it. And I always feel, I know they don't like nobody. It is like, you got to almost be an actor today and teach it, man. And people like, I ain't about to jump through all them hoops. You got to jump through some hoops.
That's right.
Some things accomplished in my class.
You
math,
do.
Math. And this math, the way they designed it, it ain't like when I was in school.
That's right.
They making these kids absorb this stuff that it's confusing me.
That's right.
But hey, that's a whole nother topic. But this moms, parents, community, I don't care if you see them speaking to these kids. I don't care if they pants down, they selling drugs, they smell like smoke. They're not who they are. Speaking to what they can become. And I promise you that kid will come back years down the road and thank you.
Yes,
thank
they
you
will.
so much for speaking to
yes.
seeing I can become.
Yes.
Nobody else see it.
Yes, they
you
will.
Can see it. They're going to start seeing it also.
You said something.
You got to see the change first.
You said something earlier that is so true, and that is we think the kids aren't listening to us, but the truth of the matter is they are. And
most of us ain't saying that. I had to say, I'm being honest. I was a student. I'm just saying, I come from the student angle. Like, what are you saying? Do homework. I'm hungry, lady. I ain't got no homework.
Well, you say most of us ain't saying nothing. That's why they ain't listening, huh?
Yeah, that's really why they ain't listening. I'm just like this 24/7. Anybody that know me, like I said, anybody that know me, this is what you get.
Well, you know what? Really? We say this in jest, but that is partially true. It really is.
You the same way. If somebody's sitting here talking to you and they ain't saying nothing, or it's not piquing your curiosity or nothing, you're going to be just nodding your head. Yeah, I got
that's right.
Nothing they said.
That's right.
Go to church every Sunday and say, yeah, pastor preached a good sermon. What he talked about? I don't know. What? You weren't listening.
That's absolutely right.
You was not listening to it. It wasn't absorbing it because you didn't get nothing. Because he wasn't speaking into that part of you or something. Right. I don't know. It's just right. Me, but it's just me.
But back to your point of the kids coming back to say they do. I had a child the other day. The kid transferred into my school from a neighboring school. And everybody already told me how bad this kid was. Oh, my God, you're getting him back. Da-da-da-da-da. So the kid came, and I really didn't hear a whole lot from him, but he kind of gave us a little bit of challenges. But then one day his mother came to the building, and she said, Mr. Medley, do you remember me? And I looked at her. I said, yeah, you were one of my students when you were at school 6. And she says, yes. She said, the same little boy that everybody was telling me was so bad was her son. I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. And she said, but I always remembered you. She said, the same way you were as a teacher is the way you are as a principal. That's why your building is the way it is. And that thing touched me because she said, you never yelled at us. You always listened to us and we would listen to you. And she said, and what I'm seeing here is the same way you did in class is the same way you're doing here as the principal. And now I've gathered a kid up and I said, I called a little boy up. I said, do you realize I had your mother as a student? And he said, no. I said, your mother didn't tell. No, I said, did your mother tell you that I was her teacher? He says, yes. And ever since that conversation, his behavior changed. I walked in his class yesterday. He had on a vest and a tie. And we all applauded him. And the teacher said, oh, yes, for the last few days, he's been coming in dressed and this, that, and the other. But now you talk about that change. His whole demeanor now has changed after he realized the connection between him and his mother.
Yeah.
But
she went home and said something about you.
Yeah.
That stuck with him like a man poured into me. And for mama to say that, he must be okay.
Yep. That's right.
It's that simple. I'm telling you, these kids are, once you find that connection, and once you find what works, and what I'm saying, they're not, and most people say they're so different. No, I was 10 times worse than some of these kids. When people say these certain topics, when I was at my school, me and my principal were very close. I just retired from teaching, so I was in the office and she'll call me to see if this kid worth saving. Right. I'm about to send him to alternative school.
Right.
And I hate to see when a kid was about to get suspended because that's dear to my heart because I know that ain't the answer, man.
Right.
You sending them to the wolves now. Now you
right.
More drugs will be out there in the corner, be on the game, stealing, robbing people. So you got to understand. I understand they're disrupting the school, but it's for a reason. What's going on?
That's right.
You keep talking to them and pricking it, and most time, even now, as a man, my wife, I'll be like, nothing, I'm good. You know how men are. I'm good.
Right.
You asked me a couple of times. Really, I'm about to tell you. I want you to keep asking. I don't know why men are like that. What's going on? Why are you looking like that? I'm good. And after the 4th time, man, I let it all out.
That's right.
Tell you what's going on. So if we just keep pricking at it, they gonna tell you, but they don't want to. Like now, I cried. Man, one time I would never cry. Let nobody see me cry.
Right.
It's hard. Nah, I cry for anything.
I know that's right.
The same way. You catch them by themselves, and you really, really tell them something where you failed at. Just tell them one of your failures. That's it.
That's it.
I promise you, they'll tell you their world.
I think my second visitor or my second guest for the morning has joined me. Dr. Connor, are you on the line? Hello? Dr. Connor?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are? Good. Good morning. This morning is a Reading Circle doubleheader. I have Kevin Brown in the first hour, and I have you in my second hour. And this is really good because both of your stories, while may not be the same thing, they're still about overcoming odds. And so I'll introduce you two on the air as I close down the interview with Kevin, and I take on the interview. But I have Kevin Brown meet Dr. Eddie M. Connor Jr.
Good morning.
How you doing, Doctor?
All
right.
I tell people all the time, Doc, I got a PhD too. I was poor, hungry, and determined, so I was glad to meet you, sir.
You say poor, hungry, and determined?
That's me right there. That's me. I'm a clown too. I like to have fun. I don't went through too much in my life to get to this point and not have fun with it. I enjoy my life now, and I try to, like I said, I don't take advice from no negative people that like to quit. So at this point in my life, I'm always I'm gonna leave you better than where you were when you meet me. That is me, and I just like to see people win because I'm a winner.
I know that's right.
I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated because I'm still winning. I didn't quit.
I know that's right. And Dr. Connor, Kevin's book is a conversation, or I always say a conversation, but it's my conversation with life. And he talks about his life struggles, and he's an educator as well as dealing with our youth. And like I said, that while your struggles are different, they're struggles nonetheless. And there's still the fact that both of you are African-American males. Both of you have overcome some serious struggles. And that's why this morning's show is extremely special. So as I close down one, we're going to start the other. But those in the listening audience, you know the drill. Get on every one of your social media sites. Let someone know that the interview with Dr. Eddie Connor Jr. is about to start as I get ready to close down the interview with Kevin Brown. Kevin, how can folks get a copy of your book? How they can get a hold of you if they need you to come speak? This is your opportunity to promote, and you can say anything with the exception of a dollar amount. But any locations, any websites, how they can order the book, any of that, you're free to share for these next couple of minutes. The mic is yours.
Okay. Once again, my name is Kevin Brown, Kevin Chuck Brown. If you go to Facebook, you can reach me at Facebook, Kevin Chuck Brown, or you can go on my website, kbbrownspeaks.com. You can email me at kbbrownspeaks@gmail.com. Like I said, you can get my book on Amazon.com. You can inbox me. I can send you a copy. You can get the hard copy, the soft copy on Amazon.com. You can get the Kindle version. Like I say, you can call me. You can call me personally if you need to talk or pray, whatever. I don't just talk about praying, but I pray for you on the spot. 770-827-0479. Like I said, I just want to see more people win and learn how to play this game called life. Because a lot of people losing. A lot of people killing themselves.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
So you can reach me, Kevin. So you can Google me, kbbrownspeaks.com or kbbrown.speaks. Instagram, Kevin Chuck Brown or kbbrown.speaks. I'm out there. So if you need me, schools, churches, corporations, like I said, I speak to them all. And I got a story for every one of them is unique because I tell it to that school or that person or that organization. And I promise you, whatever you're looking for or to get out of your audience, I can bring it out of them because that's one of my gifts. I guess God gave me that gift. And I love to touch people and touch them so they can touch others. Reach one to teach one. So I thank you all for listening to my story, and call me if you need me, 770-827-0479.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my interview with Dr. Connor, but you have two choices. Either you can just hang out on the line where you are if you have a mute button.
I'm listening to the doctor. He's a doctor.
Yes, or if you have your computer, if you want to get off the telephone, you can log onto your computer and go to the website gobrave.org, hit the listen now button and turn your speakers on, and you can catch it there. But either way, you can hear what Dr. Connor is going to say as well, because like I said, both of your interviews dovetail with each other.